Is there a way of commanding wealth that goes beyond asking, beyond hoping, beyond waiting for something outside of you to intervene? A way of speaking with the field, not as a beggar, but as part of the field itself? The answer is yes, and almost nobody is ever shown this. Back in the early 1990s, during one of the worst droughts in the American Southwest, a man living in northern New Mexico witnessed something remarkable. The drought was devastating. Cattle were dying, crops withering, farmers abandoning land that could no longer support them. One morning, a native friend of his, let's call him Michael, invited him to a place so old no one knew who built it. A circle of stones where Michael's people had offered prayers for generations. "Come with me," Michael said. "We'll pray for rain." So they hiked into the desert. The man expected ceremony, chanting, maybe a ritual dance. But when they arrived, Michael simply took off his worn boots, stepped barefoot into the circle, closed his eyes, and grew still. Just a few breaths later, he opened his eyes and said, "I'm hungry." "Let's go eat." Confused, the man asked. "I thought you were going to pray for rain." And Michael gave him an answer that has echoed for decades. He said, "If I pray for rain, it can never come. The moment I pray for it, I've told the universe it isn't here." Instead, Michael explained what he had done. He said, "I felt the rain on my skin. I smelled the damp earth. I stood barefoot in the mud, because so much rain had fallen that mud was everywhere. I walked through corn high against my chest, because rain had made it grow. I felt what it was like to already be living inside the answer. And then, I gave thanks." That was his prayer. Not asking, not waiting, but assuming, feeling, living from the outcome as if it had already happened. Neville Goddard would call this the law of assumption. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and continue in that state until it becomes fact. And in a moment, I'll show you how this same lost mode works with wealth. Because once you learn it, money itself begins to obey. Most people never see it. They go through their entire lives caught in a loop that feels like effort, struggle, endless asking, but never receiving. Think about it. How do most people approach money? They whisper, "Please let me have enough." They plead, "I just need a little more to cover this bill." They repeat affirmations like a broken record, "I am rich, I am rich, I am rich." But behind those words, there's a shadow, a silent declaration hiding underneath, "I don't have it." It's not here. I'm still waiting. And that hidden declaration is what the field hears. You can speak 1,000 words of abundance. But if the feeling beneath them is lack, the field responds with lack. You can work 16 hours a day. But if your inner speech keeps repeating, "It's hard, it's not enough, I'll never get ahead," then difficulty becomes law. This is the trap. The harder you try, the more you affirm the gap. The more you ask, the more you confirm the absence. And life, like a mirror, gives you back exactly what you're radiating. Michael's words in the desert cut straight through this illusion. If I pray for rain, it can never come. Why? Because praying for something acknowledges it isn't here. It's the same with money. Every time you say, "I need more," you broadcast that you're lacking. Every time you whisper, "I want wealth," you've declared to the field, "I don't have it yet." And the field doesn't judge. It doesn't argue. It simply reflects. Neville Goddard said, "Your inner speech mirrors your outer world." When you talk to yourself in silence, in the shower, lying in bed, walking alone, you are issuing commands. Most don't realize it. They think it's just thoughts. But those thoughts are orders, and the field obeys. That's why people who constantly complain about bills get more bills. Those who worry about losing money lose more money. And those who endlessly ask for someday riches live in endless someday, never today. It's not punishment, it's law. The mirror reflects. Here's the most chilling part. Even gratitude, when used wrong, keeps people trapped. Think about it. How often do you hear, "Be grateful for what you have now, so more will come later"? But hidden inside that is the whisper, I don't have it yet. I'm waiting for it. True gratitude, the kind that bends reality, isn't for what might come. It's for what already has come. Gratitude from the outcome, not toward it. Michael didn't thank the skies for future rain. He thanked the earth for mud on his feet, for corn brushing his chest, outcomes already fulfilled in his inner world. That's the difference. That's the edge most people never cross. And this is why, for so many, money feels heavy. They grind. They hustle. They repeat endless affirmations. But it all comes from the same silent place. I don't have it yet. So the field agrees. Reality nods back and says, you're right. You don't have it yet. It's a cruel cycle. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. Lean in. Because here's the truth that most never hear. You've been playing the wrong game. The universe isn't responding to your words. It's not measuring your effort. It's not rewarding struggle. It's echoing your inner state. And until you stop asking and start assuming, nothing changes. But when you flip that, when you step into the outcome before it shows up, when you feel it as fact before it's visible, everything shifts. This is what Michael knew. This is what Neville taught. And this is what I'm about to show you. Because there is a lost mode of prayer. A command so simple, so final, that money itself cannot resist. But before I give it to you, you need to see why it works, and why almost nobody ever uses it. Stay close. We're only getting started. If this is already opening your eyes, pause for a moment and subscribe right now. Because what comes next isn't theory. It's the hidden law itself. And once you know it, money will never look at you the same way again. So, what's really happening here? Why does asking fail? Why does begging leave you empty? Why does grinding harder only multiply the struggle? It's because wealth isn't something you earn in the way most people are taught. Wealth isn't a paycheck you fight for. It isn't a prize you chase down. Wealth is assumed. It's a law older than any economy, any banking system, any stock exchange. It is the law that Michael tapped into when he felt the rain before a cloud ever touched the sky. And the law is this. The outer world doesn't lead. It follows. It bends to the assumption you carry. Think of it like a mirror. When you stand in front of a mirror, you don't wait for the reflection to smile before you do. You move first. The mirror only follows. Wealth works the same way. It cannot show up until you've assumed it's already yours. Not hoped, not wished, not pleaded for. Assumed. And this is where most people miss it. They stare into the mirror of life waiting for the reflection to change first. Waiting for the money to appear, the debt to vanish, the numbers in the bank account to rise. But the reflection only answers to the image you project. Neville Goddard said it like this. Change your conception of yourself and you will automatically change the world in which you live. That's not philosophy. That's mechanics. Your identity, the way you see yourself, the inner speech you repeat silently every hour, is the command center. It is issuing decrees every second. When your self-concept is, I'm always behind, money is hard, I can't catch up, the mirror has no choice but to show you that picture. When your inner speech is, I'll never afford it, someday, maybe, not yet. Life echoes back those words as reality. But when your self-concept shifts, when you assume wealth as natural, easy, inevitable, then the mirror bends. Picture a river. Rivers don't grind to flow downhill. They don't struggle. They don't force. They follow the law of gravity effortlessly. That's wealth. It's not meant to be dragged into your life. It's not meant to be fought for. It's meant to flow, naturally, automatically, once the channel is open. And the channel isn't your job. It isn't the economy. It isn't luck. It's your assumption. Think of a magnet. A magnet doesn't chase. It doesn't beg. It doesn't plead with the iron to come closer. It radiates a field, and the iron obeys. That's you when you stop asking and begin assuming. You radiate wealth as your natural state, and opportunities, clients, payments, unexpected sums, they obey. This is why Michael didn't waste words in that circle of stones. He didn't beg the sky. He didn't argue with the drought. He assumed the rain. He felt it as law. And hours later, the skies opened. Now let's bring this even closer. Money responds to ease. Have you noticed how the wealthiest people you've ever observed don't strain? They don't panic over every bill. They don't beg life for every crumb. They walk with a quiet certainty, as if wealth already belongs to them. Because in their inner world, it does. The outer is simply catching up. Neville once said, "Dare to assume wealth, dare to live as though it were yours, and you will discover wealth is compelled to appear." That word, compelled, is everything. It means the field isn't random. It isn't playing favorites. It isn't deciding on a whim who gets rich and who stays broke. It's law. Assumption hardens into fact. So lean in. Because here's the truth most people will never hear. Money doesn't come because you want it. Money comes because you assume it already belongs to you. That is the hidden truth. And the moment you understand this, the moment you stop staring into the mirror waiting for it to change first, you hold the key that flips the entire game. We're close now. In a few moments, I'll give you the exact decree that unlocks this, the short command that makes money obey the way the rain obeyed Michael's inner vision. But before I do, you need to see the edge, the razor-thin difference between forcing and allowing, between begging and commanding, between struggle and inevitability. Because once you stand at that edge, the command will hit with full force. Stay with me. The truth is seconds away. If you felt the tension building, if you can sense that we're seconds away from the truth, hit subscribe right now. Because the command I'm about to give you isn't just another technique, it's the turning point. And once you cross it, money will never treat you the same again. This is it. The edge we've been walking toward together. Up until now, you've seen the trap. Why asking fails, why begging only multiplies lack, why grinding harder never bends reality. But here is what the ancients preserved. They called it prayer. Not prayer as you were taught. Not hoping, not waiting, not wishing. This was different. A mode of prayer that doesn't plead with the heavens. It commands the field. It is prayer in form, but command in substance. Michael knew it in that circle of stone. He didn't pray for rain as absence. He prayed as though rain had already fallen. He felt the mud. He smelled the earth. He walked through corn high against his chest. And the sky obeyed. This is not a metaphor. This is the law. And when Neville said, "Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and persist until it hardens into fact," he was pointing to the same truth. Not prayer as need, prayer as decree. And tonight, it's your turn. Because money will never move for those who ask timidly. It will never run to those who beg, but it bows to those who command. So lean in. Take this into your chest, not as an affirmation, not as hope, but as law. Money kneels to my word. Say it out loud now. Not weakly, not half-believing, with authority. Money kneels to my word. You've spoken it. You've felt it. Money kneels to my word. Now it's time to live it. Because saying it once isn't enough. It has to become the air you breathe, the way you walk, the way you face every single moment of life. Most people make a mistake here. They speak words of power. But the moment life tests them, they collapse. A bill shows up in their inbox. A desire feels out of reach. An expense drains their account. And instantly, the old story rushes back in. See? Nothing works. I'll never get ahead. That's the trap. But that won't be you. Because from now on, you don't just speak the command. You carry it. You live it. You embody it. Picture this. Tomorrow, a bill arrives. The old you would panic, heart-pounding, whispering, "How will I cover this?" But the new you doesn't beg, doesn't fear, doesn't shrink. You look at that bill, shoulders back, and declare, "Money kneels to my word." And in that moment, the fear dissolves. You shift from victim to ruler. And watch what happens. A payment clears, a refund lands, an opportunity arrives. Not coincidence, response. Now imagine you're walking by something you want. A trip, a car, a home. The old you sighs, maybe someday. I can't afford it. But the commander doesn't sigh. You don't shrink from desire. You don't bow to price tags. You look at it, steady, and declare, "Money kneels to my word." And suddenly, the pieces rearrange. A raise, a deal, a gift. A door you never saw before swings open. Because desire is no longer a taunt. It's a summons. But what about setbacks? What about the moments when money slips through your fingers? When expenses bite harder than you expected? The old you would spiral into despair. See? Nothing works. I'll never win. But not anymore. Not now. Because you stand taller, even in loss, and you decree, "Money kneels to my word." And watch, it comes back faster, stronger, greater, because you didn't kneel to the problem. You made the problem kneel to you. And don't miss this. Sometimes proof comes small. A stranger covers your coffee. A discount flashes at checkout. A small payment you weren't expecting hits your account. Most shrug it off. "Oh, that's nothing." But not you. You know these are cracks in the old reality, signs of the mirror bending. And every time you see one, you whisper with a smile, "Money kneels to my word." Because if it kneels in the small things, it must kneel in the great. This is what Neville meant by assumption. Not hoping, not asking, but living from the end. Every bill already paid. Every desire already yours. Every setback already restored. Your job isn't to chase money. Your job is to carry the decree until reality has no choice but to obey. So tonight before you sleep, speak it again. Not as practice, not as wish, but as law. And tomorrow, watch. Proof will follow. Small signs at first, then bigger, and bigger, until you realize money has no choice. It kneels. You've spoken it. You've carried it. Money kneels to my word. Now comes the ascension. Because this isn't just about repeating a phrase. It isn't just about testing a new method. It's about becoming someone different. Someone who no longer hopes, no longer waits, no longer questions, but lives in certainty, commands as law, and walks as wealth itself. Think about the world before this moment. Money sat above you. You chased it. You begged for it. You feared it. And every time you whispered a hope, you admitted lack. Every time you pleaded, you confirmed absence. Every time you panicked, you told the field to echo struggle. That world is gone now. Because from this moment forward, you carry the crown. You speak as ruler. You stand as law. Neville said, "Man moves in a world that is nothing more or less than his consciousness objectified." That's what you're realizing now. Money is not a stranger. It is your consciousness reflected back. And once your consciousness says, "Money kneels to my word," the mirror can do nothing else. It must bend. So let's anchor this deeper. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning. Before your feet touch the floor, you breathe it in. Money kneels to my word. You don't check your account in fear. You don't brace for bills in panic. You step forward with certainty. At work, someone mentions an opportunity. You hear it differently now. You don't wonder, "Could I?" You know, it's mine. Walking down the street, you see something you want. The old voice would whisper, "Too expensive." But the new voice says, "It's already mine." Money kneels to my word. I want to thank you for staying with me through this journey, because what you just experienced wasn't another technique. It was a return to what the ancients called prayer, a return to what Neville called assumption, a return to what you now know as command. Money kneels to my word. That decree isn't just something you say, it's something you live, something you breathe, something you carry into every corner of your life until wealth has no choice but to obey. So let me ask you this. Did you feel the shift in your chest? Did something inside of you awaken as the words landed? If the answer is yes, then let it anchor deeper. Say it in the comments right now. Money kneels to my word. Because when thousands of us speak it together, it's no longer just a video. It becomes a movement, a ripple through reality itself. And if you want to keep walking this path with me, if you want to keep discovering the hidden laws that turn struggle into ease, begging into command, hope into certainty, then subscribe right now. Not because I ask, but because your future demands it. Because the field is waiting for you to rise even higher. So subscribe, stay close, and step fully into this identity with me. From this night forward, you are no longer the one who waits. You are no longer the one who begs. You are the one who commands. And wealth, by law, kneels. So, walk tall. Sleep deeply. Live as ruler. Because the truth is sealed. Money kneels to your word. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you in the next one.